Hey guys, it's Phantom here, and welcome back to a brand new video, everybody. So, in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 useful features in Wizard101. So, these are pretty much features that longtime players of this game will have a pretty good idea, of what they are and how they work. So, this video, you could say, is more directed at the newer people in the game who don't really know how any of these features work or don't know how most of them work, and I guess would just like to learn more about the game and be more successful inside of it. So anyways, that's what this video is here for, to help all of you. So anyways, without further ado, let us get into the number 5 feature. Alright, so the first feature in this game that you are most definitely going to want to be utilizing is going to be the Bazaar shop in Old Town. Now, like I said, some of these features on the list, or shops, or whatever, some of these useful features on this list, like I said, might be pretty obvious to longtime players of this game, but like I said, this is more for the new players. Anyways, though, the Bazaar comes in at number 5, and what is so special about the Bazaar and why you definitely want to be using it as much as you can is because the Bazaar is essentially a shop inside of this game that is pretty much all encompassing in the categories of items that it offers. And what I mean by that is pretty much you can purchase, your hats, robes, boots. You can purchase all sorts of gear in this gear category. You can purchase housing items, any sort of housing item that you want. You can purchase TC, you can purchase reagents, snacks, gardening TC, and yeah, that is pretty much every single category of item in this game, which is why it makes it so useful, because this is just a complete cornucopia when it comes to the purchasing of certain items. And when you come to the Bazaar, there is a pretty good chance that they will have what you want. I know, as for me, whenever I'm questing on a new character and I'm in that sort of time period where I'm in levels 1 through 24, you bet your ass that I'm going to be using Bazaar gear. You bet your ass that I'm going to be, clicking that usable button and then buying whatever gear suits my needs the best, because Bazaar gear is definitely very useful for levels 1 through 24. You can even rock Bazaar gear. I mean, I definitely wouldn't advise it, but you could, in theory, rock Bazaar gear up until, you could rock it the entire game if you wanted to. Like I said, wouldn't advise that, but you can pretty much get away with it up until, I don't know, Waterworks or something like that, level 60, level 56, Winter Tusk crafted gear. So for all your gear needs, the Bazaar is going to be there for you for quite a while. And then, like I said, housing, treasure cards, snacks, and reagents, it's pretty much got all of it. And as a new player coming into this game, this is where you are going to want to be getting a lot of items that you will so need for pretty much your frivolous journey. So yeah, the Bazaar is really, really good for all of that stuff. So if you didn't already know about it, well, now you know, and now you can pretty much use it to its full extent, and I do hope it helps you very much. Next up on this list is going to be the feature of fishing inside of Wizard101. Now, if you asked me about a year or two ago if I actually thought that fishing was a efficient use of your time, I probably would have said no to you, honestly. But recently I discovered that there actually are more benefits to fishing than meets the eye. And the reason why I put it on this list is because obviously it is very useful, and you can actually start fishing. I didn't know this until a few months ago or something, but you can actually start fishing at level 7, which is really, really early. Of course, you're not going to get the best spells, you're not going to be catching the best fish, but you can at least start it pretty early on into the game, which is a really interesting thing to note. Anyways, though, on to the actual benefits of fishing. So fishing is definitely not the worst way in the world to actually get gold inside of this game. I know that during one of my live streams when I was in the elephant graveyard going for code wands, I was catching all the sentinels, all the Pakumon fish, and those were each selling for a couple thousand gold, at least 1,000 gold a fish or something like that, which is kind of a lot, when you think about it, and how fast you can actually catch sentinel fish, especially when you have the 0 energy fishing member benefit going on, which makes fishing pretty much all the more better. So of course, fishing, it grants access to a decent amount of gold, right? But you can also get, and I'm not sure how many people actually know about this, but you can actually get permanent mounts from fishing as well. Some notable examples would be the Battle Narwhal, which is actually a mount that gives 2% damage. You can get that from the Polarian Shipwreck House if you're, fishing for chests there. You can get the Celestial Wolf mount from the Botanical Gardens, and I believe you can also get like the Malorian Dragon mount or something like that from the Winterwind Tower House, which is pretty interesting that you can actually get like permanent premium bundle mounts inside of this game just from the activity of fishing. I think that that is absolutely amazing. And then another thing, I think this is kind of like the last significant thing, but definitely one that I think that you should, I think a method that you should definitely consider of getting mega snacks basically by fishing. And pretty much how you go about that is you get, I think the fish is called blackberry jellyfish or something, which is the main ingredient, the main, I wouldn't call it like a reagent, I guess I would call it more of an ingredient that is used in a fishing recipe, not a fishing recipe, a mega snack recipe for golden wheat bread. And why you need mega snacks, obviously for training pets and getting the best pets possible, getting your stats up and everything, which will just overall benefit you in the game even more. But really, the key to one of those methods of getting mega snacks is going to be fishing, and it is actually pretty easy to go about this, especially during zero energy fishing. So if you do have a membership, you are new to this game, I would definitely suggest trying fishing out. So next up is going to be the function of crafting. Now I am in Wizard City right here next to Eudora Tangletree because she is the person where you actually get your very first crafting quest. So if you want to learn how to start crafting, I mean, you can start by talking to this woman right here when you are of appropriate level. I know you can start it really early, at least when you are in Wizard City at some point. Not sure about the actual level on that. However, you can, start it pretty early, so I think it is definitely worth looking into. But, of course, there are a lot of benefits that come with crafting, and pretty much, like, this is, like, the only benefit, at least how I play the game personally. The only benefit that I can really see of crafting, however it is a very important one, is the crafting of certain gear items. Now, these gear items can pretty much range from whatever item that you want to craft pretty much. I mean, there's like, the only limit is pretty much like the recipes that are offered inside of the game. But let's say, for example, I get to level 56, right? I get to level 56, and I've been rocking like Bazaar gear, maybe half Bazaar, half Zeus gear for like that entire time, and I'm looking for an upgrade. I'm looking for something that gives me decent damage, resist, gives me maybe a little bit of a critical as well, maybe a blade item card. Then I would definitely want to get my crafting level up, because the Winter Tusk crafted gear that is, of course, offered in Winter Tusk in Sutherland, requires me to be level 56 and have to have attained a certain level of crafting, right? And the gear that the stats that is offered by, these pieces of gear are very good. However, I need to do crafting to actually obtain the pieces of gear and then get these better stats for my wizard. So as you can see, in that regard, crafting is very useful. Other notable examples of times when you might need to craft. This is, of course, very optional, but the Azteca and the Avalon crafted gear is not bad either. Another big thing would be the Dragoon gear, which is pretty much like the end game gear inside of this game, which you actually need to level up your crafting for, to actually get the reagents, all the alchemical reagents to end up crafting this beast gear that gives like all this damage, like super offensive. If crafting is honestly absolutely essential at this stage and just is a very useful feature inside of this game. So I would definitely try looking into crafting if you want to. It might seem a bit daunting and a little bit complex at first, but once you figure out how to attain certain reagents, I promise you it will be extremely worth it. I would just like to provide another example really quick before we move on to number 2 and how crafting is just super duper useful. So here's the golden wheat recipe right here, this mega snack recipe that I mentioned during the fishing portion of this video, and how you actually need a master, hold on, does it actually say here? Anyways, it might not actually say, but you do need a master artisan badge, which I believe requires you to complete Dragonspire crafting to actually obtain. So you actually need that sort of crafting badge and have attained that high level of crafting to actually get this recipe to craft a really useful item. So just once again shows you how crafting is really good. Something definitely that is worth it. Coming up next, we have the feature of gardening in Wizard101. So I'm right by Farley here, who is the gardening NPC in Wizard City, the guy that you come to get some of your first seeds and gardening housing items and stuff like that include like the pots, etc. I do believe you actually do get the quest from Melinda Wu though, who is the life teacher. Anyways though, I'm here today to talk to you guys about the benefits of gardening and why you should most definitely look into it. So gardening is arguably like the most important thing in this game, like honestly, and that is just because of a simple fact of the sheer amount of items that it gives you. So let me go to my house right here to provide you guys with an example, right? Provide you guys with a little bit of an example of like a garden, you know, a proper garden. You know, don't ignore my EMPs, all right? I know it's not a 69 plot, but let's just go to my couch potatoes here, all right? Let's just go to my couch potatoes here. So of course I have all of my couch potatoes, my plants planted right here. And of course, it is a little bit of a hassle that you do have to take care of your plants like once a day or something like that. Once you get used to it though, it is really not too annoying. And the cool thing about gardening is once you do get some really good seeds that give you some really good rewards, like for example, if I go and I hover over the couch potato seed right here, you can see that it does give a lot of rewards with a little bit of challenge right there. But the rewards, the cool thing about gardening is it only costs energy, right? It costs energy, which is basically like a free thing inside of this game. Of course, you can get things that will boost the energy, but pretty much a free thing inside of this game that regens after a while here. My couch potatoes are really loud, so I'm going to go back over here. But it costs energy, right? Something that regens, something that you can refill fairly easily, and since you only have to take care of your plants once a day, you know, by the time you're at like a decent level, maybe have some decent energy gear, gardening's not going to be a problem at all. And so the rewards that the couch potatoes offer, as well as like evil magma peas, all the good seeds like that, is mega snacks. Mega snacks is the main thing that you're going to want from these plants. So for example, I have 600 Captain Cantaloupes here. This is all from gardening. This is all from gardening. 336 cherry tomatoes. It's all from gardening. If I go to my reagents here, right? I think what's a reagent that I get quite a bit? Right there, I have Max Black Lotus. This is as a result of my EMPs. Black Lotus is definitely a really good reagent that you can transmute to get black pearls, which you need for certain areas of crafting. Gardening is just, it's such a good way of, you know, the plants providing you with items that you need for certain tasks within the game, as well as, you know, mega snacks, of course, which goes into that category. It also gives you a decent amount of gold as well, especially when the plants reach Elder. You're actually going to be getting a lot of gold from these guys as well. And if double gardening rewards is active during the time when you harvest your plants at all, or especially if you harvest them at Elder, you will of course get double rewards for that. So you're pretty much just getting like a lot of stuff out of this. And farming for seeds at first and maybe getting some energy gear is a little bit of a hassle. Jesus, those cats, they're just so loud, man. Even though those things might be a hassle at the start, once you do, you know, start gardening, get your plot down, plant your plants, right? It's like really easy actually, and pretty much really worth it in the end. That it can just supply you with so much gold, so many mega snacks, so many rare reagents, pretty much just stuff that will be really useful to you later on. Last but certainly not least is going to be the dual feature of the hatchery as well as the hatch making kiosk inside of the pet pavilion. So pretty much one of the best things that you can do for your wizard inside of this game if you want him to have the best stats pretty much just perfected, fine-tuned to suit your playstyle, is you're going to want to train a pet. And pets are pretty much like, I mean, they are what they are. They're pets that give you benefits in battle. So for example, this pet right here gives me 10 resist and then plus what is that, 15, 21, 24, 27 damage right there. Very useful, you know, just to boost my stats, make me resist to spells, and do more damage as well. So basically, pets provide you with a lot of benefits. Now, how exactly do you get these really good talents on your pets? Well, the best way of doing that is, of course, you know, starting out with a pet that probably doesn't have like a very sticky talent pool, like a bloodbat, for example, and then either, I guess, hatching with a friend. You know, and you can do that in the hatchery. That is why the hatchery is so useful. Or hatching with a kiosk pet, which, you know, also very useful as well that this thing is here, because pretty much what these two things accomplish, it's basically the same thing, in that when you hatch with a pet, there's of course a chance that, you know, your pet will copy certain talents that you want into its own talent pool, and then you can pretty much manifest those own talents onto your pet. And yeah, how you do that is through the hatchery as well as the hatchmaking kiosk. So yeah, the only difference between these two is the hatchery is something that I definitely prefer. The only problem is you actually need a friend with a good pet who is willing to hatch with you. But the reason why I like it more is because the hatches in there are way less expensive if you do it with another person. If you do the hatchmaking kiosk, it pretty much costs like double or something. It might even be a little bit more than double. It is really expensive, but you do get basically the same result as you would, you know, if you hatch with a friend in there. So you basically get an egg. You know, it could be either your pet or the other person's pet. And then, of course, you know, you could get some good talents on that, or maybe you won't, and then you'll hatch it again, and then you could get like 2 decent talent pools, make 2 bases, hatch them together, eventually get the pet you want, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. The key though, the key to pretty much getting these good talents on your pets, I have people ask me in the comments all the time how you can actually get the right talents on your pet, and it all comes back to the hatchery as well as the hatch making kiosk. So, you know, if you do have a friend with the talents that you want, go ahead into the hatchery and, you know, do that. But let's say I want an arcane golem pet with exactly these talents on it. I'm going to find a pet, looks exactly like this. I'm going to hatch it, and it's going to cost me some gold, but, you know, there is a chance that I will get the talent and pet that I want. So that is pretty much why these 2 things are really, really useful. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video, everyone. I really hope you guys did enjoy. I hope this helped out maybe some new players, maybe some people who have been playing the game for a little while but didn't know about all these things, maybe even some longtime players who didn't know about these things either by some, you know, sort of token. Anyways, though, that is pretty much going to be all from me. Hope this did help you guys out once again. But if you guys did enjoy, you could always leave a like or subscribe to the channel. It would absolutely mean the world to me. Support has been absolutely crazy lately, and I just got to thank you all for it. Seriously, things have been incredible. Anyways, though, I'll see you all in the next video or stream, whenever that may be. So take care and peace out, guys.